Hi, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Special Economic Zones. I'm your host, Ainsley Brown, and in today's episode, we're going to cover a little different type of topic. It's quite interesting. I suppose all topics on here are interesting to me. The topic is the blurring lines between the domestic territory and zones, or zones and the domestic territory. What we're seeing increasingly is what is being offered in the zone or in a special economic zone, whatever you want to call it, free zone, enterprise area, free trade area, whatever the nomenclature you want to use. We're referring to the same thing. In essence, a geographic space where special rules apply and special tax incentives apply. Now, the lines between the two are blurring increasingly. Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? And the answer, it depends, in my view. The reason why I say it depends is that it could be a case of great success. The oftentimes zones are or zone programs are put in place because it's to make up for a deficit in an economy. Zones, in essence, are supposed to represent the country at its best in how it would operate, and they are intended to bring in reforms that may not necessarily be prudent or may not necessarily work initially as governments intend if you bring it in the economy across the entire economy. So they bring it in piecemeal and then roll it out to the rest of the economy. So in that sense, it could be that blurring line or erasure of that line could be a case of success, and that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. But inherent in this whole thing is the utility of zones. Are zones still that thing that can help a country move ahead? And I still believe that they do have a place to play, because they're centered around movement of goods, centered around trade, etc., etc., and naturally attracting investments and then resulting jobs, etc. But that line between what's in the domestic and what's in the zone, that erasure in terms of the similarities between the two. So in some jurisdictions, you can barely tell the difference between the how a zone would operate and how how the rest of the economy operates. But there's also the part where it could be a negative, where the barriers between the two governments start to bring them down sooner than they should, erasing the competitiveness of the zone, right, without fixing the issues that create the conditions to go into a zone. So if they've fixed the issues, then that there's not an issue right there, right? But that if the issues remain in terms of, for example, the ease of doing business just in general, and the free movement of goods, how goods can come in and out of your economy, getting licenses, getting permits, getting rules of origin certificates, phytosanitary certificates, all of these different things that are essential to trade. How easy is it, even in banking, for example, letters of credit and bills of exchange, these things, how easy is it to get? How easy is it to open a bank account, incorporate a company, move your money in and out, repatriate your profits to your home country, etc.? If those issues, fundamental issues, are still there in the wider economy, but you have created a nice environment for a zone, then you should keep those barriers up, right? You should keep those barriers up if those issues have persisted. But if you have experimented and figured out things and it's working in the zone, and then you've rolled them out to the economy, and now the zones and the economy basically don't look or look almost exactly the same, then you can start to bring down those barriers. and that line becomes ever. But then what it does, it also forces zones and zones regimes to find other means to remain competitive. If for example, it is not about just fiscal incentives, or like say corporate income tax. If the corporate income tax in the zone, out of the zone, is the same or almost the same, then you have to find other means. And one of the main means, for example, is ease of doing business when it comes to clearance of goods, and how access to raw materials and things like that. How quickly can you, if you're a distributor, can you bring the item in, store it, and then get it back out? How quick is that? And if the zones represent a area in which that is at its peak versus the rest of the economy, then of course the zone can maintain its company. And then zones, of course, naturally evolve over time, as they should, as the country improves, or ought to be improving, with the help of the zones themselves, and things will progress. So if you like this episode, or you want to see me do a particular topic, please leave me a comment down below. Please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see each other again in another episode. Bye for now.